What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Retro Hoop Collectibles. I was not planning on doing a video about this whole Kurt's Card Care, Wembanyama situation, PSA, yada yada, this, that, and other. I can't help but watch so many things. So many people who create content that I have a great deal of respect for, cover this situation and do so in a manner that doesn't make any sense to me. I've watched videos from Dan the Card Man. I've watched videos from IAH Sports, or I think his name's Raul. Raul was his name. And everybody's entitled to have their own opinions when it comes to Kurt's Card Care, right? There's some ethical gray lines there that people want to try to put on cleaning your cards, prepping your cards, and then there's just flat out sensationalism when it comes to the way that things are being reported. And so I had Kurt on my channel before, and we've talked about this, where, his kit, which I have, his kit has things that are meant to help you clean your cards. Microfiber cloths, there's the wax that he has here, the edge tool, and then the cleaning spray. Now, all of those things are meant to help clean your card and prep your card for grading. I don't see any issue with any of those, okay? My personal opinion, okay? Now, if you have an issue with that, then don't use it, right? If you have an issue with that, then don't use it. Now, the conversations is starting to happen where it's like, okay, well, if I don't want to use it, how do I know that I'm not buying a card that has used it, right? If I want to buy a PSA card, because let's face it, nobody's using Kurt's Card Care to put their card in a top loader, in a penny sleeve and top loader, and put it in a box and stash it away, right? Why are we using Kurt's Card Care? We're using Kurt's Card Care, most of us, in an effort to clean up our cards, prep them in order to send them off and be graded. Okay, so a new player has entered the chat, which is, in this case, is the grading companies, right? So the grading companies, both SGC and PSA, have all made their statements about using Kurt's Card Care, right? What did they say? They've said, we do not condone adding material to a card in order to alter its appearance and condition. Okay, recently, I'll throw up this thing from Ryan Hodge, who is the president of PSA. He says, we'll skip all the other stuff. He said, that said, I want to clarify, PSA does not approve of any chemicals or foreign substances being added, I'll say it again, being added to the surface of a card, okay, to improve the condition or appearance. Now let's talk about that for a second, because everybody whom I used to think was pretty smart is looking at this and going, well, this is clearly says that you shouldn't be adding anything to your card. Let me ask you something. When you guys were young and your mother told you to clean your room because your room was dirty, did you add to the mess, or did you take away the dirt and the filth out of your room in order to clean your room? It's pretty simple. The PSA spells it out. If somebody took that Wembanyama card and added some cleaning solution and cleaned it and wiped everything off of that card, and in turn presented a clean card, how is that altering the card? How is that making the card different, other than just grabbing it and cleaning it? You're cleaning the card. There may have been fingerprints. There may have been manufacturing residue. You guys don't understand. There are cards that come pack fresh that have gunk on them, nasty oil from the rollers. You just don't know what you can get. And PSA is clearly okay with you cleaning off your card in order to present it in the best possible shape that it can be. And that is all that you do with Kurt's Card Care. Now, I'll get to another piece of Kurt's Card Care in a second that seems to be a little bit more controversial and has a little bit more, I can understand where people are a little bit more bent out of shape about it. But when it comes to these Wembanyama cards, which is the catalyst for all of this, as well as some of the catalyst for some of the other things that everybody's jacked up about, Raul over at IAH, he was upset about a Herbert card or something that happened like a year ago or something. The same situation. Somebody cleaned the card up really good, prepped it really good, wiped it down, maybe got rid of some surface scratches and wiped it all down and got it set up and ready to go for grading. And PSA graded it a 10. There's people, Kurt has his entire Instagram is full of examples where he's taken cards that are dirty, gritty, grimy, cleaned them up, resubmitted them, and got great grades. Okay? But PSA is saying we don't like people adding stuff to a card, and that taking a card, adding stuff to it, and then giving it to us for grading, we don't condone that. That is not what is happening when you use Kurt's Card Care to prep and clean your cards. You are cleaning your card. You're not adding to it. I don't understand how this is so hard to understand. Why guys like Dan the Card Man are reading this and taking away anything other than what it says right there, which is they're not to be added. Foreign substances aren't to be added to the surface of a card. Granted, when you're cleaning a card, you're adding to it, and then you're cleaning it and you're wiping it off. You're cleaning it off. You're making it clean. How is that adding to it? Are you using an agent to clean it? Sure, but you're wiping it clean. I don't understand what the issue is. I don't understand. Now, that's my stance. That being said, that's how I feel about it, and it's driving me absolutely crazy listening to these guys read the same thing that I'm reading and completely walking away with a totally ridiculous interpretation. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And again, guys, I have so much respect for both of these guys. I've had them on my channel before. I really appreciate a lot of the work that they do. I really do. It's documented. But I don't understand how we're looking at this and walking away with two totally different interpretations of what's being said here. Now, I'll stop there. That's the end of that rant. The other piece that I want to talk about is card soaking. Now, I'll admit, and you guys know, and Kurt's my man. I talk to Kurt all the time. Kurt's my man. The card soaking thing's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. That's a tough one for me, because there's a point that Dan makes where he says, how do we understand the long-term implications of soaking a card? And that's a valid question, right? That's a legit question. How do we understand that if you soak a card and then get the grade that you want to get it locked into a slab, and then 6-10 years down the line, all of a sudden you start getting some humidity in your card, and then things start to get a little wispy. Now, I don't know enough about card soaking and how all of that works, but I would imagine that anybody that soaks a card before submitting it or doing whatever with it to a grading company to be graded will make sure that there's no moisture left in that card and that card is dry. I don't know, but there is some truth to, not truth, but there's some legitimacy to that concern, in my opinion, and one of Dan's concerns, in my opinion. But that one's a little weird, in my opinion. I don't know. I may need to talk to Kurt about that. I don't know how that works, how the card soaking works, because I don't have cards that old. One of the things that Kurt explained to me, because I've sent Kurt a couple of cards where I'm like, hey man, what can we do about this, crease, for example? And he'll tell me, oh man, listen, Bubba, there ain't nothing you can do about that. That card is toast, brother. Like there's nothing you can do about that. That is a card with a gloss finish. He's so helpful in the way that he'll walk you through things, and he'll say, hey, there's just nothing you can do about that card, buddy. That card's gone. There's no saving it. Which is the other thing that kind of bugs me, because people are like trying to paint Kurt like as this guy who's like, doing shady stuff and like helping you like alter your cards and things like that. And it's just simply not the truth. It's just simply not the truth. But anyway, I'll admit that the card soaking thing is a little weird. I don't know much about that, and that does seem a little bit like a more of an ethical gray line. But come on, guys. I mean, you're taking ultra modern cards, you're wiping them down, you're using maybe some of the spray or the wax to polish things up really nice, and then sending them off to get graded. PSA is taking a look at them and going, "That's a great looking card. It's nice and clean. It's nice and centered. The edges are sharp. The corners are sharp." Gets a PSA 10, and for some reason everybody's losing their absolute shit over it, and it's insane. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, I got a little worked up there, but I just got finished watching Dan's video, and I don't know, I got a little worked up because I'm like, golly, man, I don't understand how we're seeing this so differently. But I wanted to get my side out and kind of my opinion out and my interpretation of the president of PSA's announcement here about where they stand. And if all that was done to that Wembanyama was some surface spray was used and was cleaned up, a little polish was used and wiped off, and it got a PSA 10, I think that's perfectly within exactly what is being said by Ryan Hodge in this tweet, where he's saying that they don't condone things being added, because in this case, nothing was added to that card. It was cleaned. You guys stop taking this shit so serious. It's ridiculous. Nothing's being done here. Everybody wants to throw on these conspiracy, and I love me a good conspiracy theory. You know, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. I love me a good conspiracy theory. But sometimes, man, we just, people got to make content. I get it. Thank you guys for watching. As always, a little uncharacteristic of me to do these kinds of rants, but I really felt it necessary. Got a video coming out on Monday. Don't forget, we got our live stream on Sunday, which we'll talk a little bit more through, and I'll check you guys out later. Love y'all. Peace.